My name is Maral, and this is my sign name. I was born and raised in Iran as a strict Muslim. As such, I wore a hijab and observed all of the requirements of the religion, for example, prayer and Ramadan. I was also brought up to be oral because in Iran there is no respect or support or access for disabled individuals. And there's no information linked to deafness either. Really, if you're disabled, you're a second-class citizen. My mum couldn't accept my deafness, so at first there was a real struggle with communication until she decided to focus on improving my speech. And of course, in Iran, there's no speech therapy or support for this process. My mum made me practice every day to improve my speech, and that's how I acquired my first language of Farsi. So time progressed and I was ready for school. Again, with my mum's support, because the school was a mainstream school and I was the only deaf child, which meant this again was a struggle to understand the information and to lip read every day. And my mum again helped me to speak properly. And at the same time through school, we had to learn Arabic because this is the language of the Quran. It's written in Arabic, so I had to start to learn. And it's the only way to learn how to pray and to speak properly, because in Islam, if you mispronounce a word, the belief is that Allah won't listen to you. And you would have to do the whole prayer again. So there's a lot of pressure to learn the language. I began learning my third language, I think in secondary school. We started basic English lessons with vocabulary such as apple and water, things like that, very basic. But it was the grammar I really struggled with. I remember learning about a foreign story called A Christmas Carol with the character of Scrooge. And in it, there's a part where he stood outside in the cold snow, observing a family through a window. The room's decorated and they're eating a Christmas meal, and that is how I pictured Christmas to be. And so I progressed through education. I went to university and achieved a degree in handcraft. And of course, there were lots of challenges that I experienced along the way. Not only my deaf identity, but also as a woman in Iran. So I decided to do my MA here in the UK and to do jewellery making, and that's why I moved. And of course I'm oral and I had to lip read and I had to try and understand the English. So I did a 6-month general English course in London to learn English and how to lip read better. Once I passed that course, I went to Birmingham City University to do my MA. And I've been here since then. I moved in 2015 to start at the university. Whilst at the university, I made jewellery, but I also embarked on a big journey of self-discovery. I was exploring who I am. I was still lost over my deaf identity. And I was also trying to figure out my identity as a woman and what that meant for me. In this country, we have freedom of speech. I have the freedom to decide what I'm going to create in my project without worrying about upsetting the government. So I decided to cut my hair and make the brooch. And also continue to wear my hijab, but the challenging question over this was, as a Muslim, I was brought up, with strict observance of the religion, and everything was aimed at making the woman subservient. It was our role to save the men from sin. And there was lots of government concern linked to hair. And what does hair mean as a Muslim? And what does it mean in the Quran? So I cut my hair and created the brooch, but I maintained the hijab. And the question remained, would the brooch still cause a man to sin? Because my hair was covered, but it was present on the brooch. time in Iran, there was a lot of social unrest. Women were protesting for their rights, their freedom of rights to choose clothing, to not be forced to wear a hijab. And it was a very sensitive subject in Iran. I had posted a video of my work at university online as part of my MA, and an Iranian official discovered it. Consequently, my parents were threatened into forcing me to come home to Iran to face punishment. Therefore, I became a refugee. It was then that I experienced my first British Christmas with my second family here in the UK that looked after me. There were so many things to learn. For example, the tradition of cooking the food and Christmas crackers. It was very different to anything I'd ever experienced. And I was shocked that it went over 2 days. You had Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day, and you went to church, and then you had a big meal together, and it was just very exciting and such a different culture. Everything was new. The meal was new, and I couldn't believe how many different foods were piled on my plate. It was incredible. And then pudding afterwards, it's like, wow, I was so full after I'd eaten. It's also warm and cozy. And then of course, in the build up to Christmas, you decorate your tree, make sure it looks good. The one Christmas tradition, even now I still can't get my head around it. It's the British formality of Christmas cards. In Iran, you never send a card. It would never happen. In Iran, the focus is on a present, and it's to show how you feel about a person. But there's also that one-upmanship as to who's given the best present and who the favourite is. But here, it's the cards, and I don't get it. You post them to everybody, to my family and friends. You post all of these cards. You have this massive pile, and they get delivered, and you peg them up around the room in your house. I mean, it's marvellous. It's beautiful. Just the strings of cards in people's houses, and sometimes there's 3 rows around a room. I can't believe it. One of the reasons I decided to immerse myself in English culture for 6 months and learn spoken English is because in Iran, it's all based on Americanisms and American culture. Their words, their spellings, it's all very American. It's not British. It's very different culturally. And I spent that time at college, as I said before, to achieve my qualification, to then study at BCU. During my time at university, I had a note taker and I lip read. And I was always behind and panicked, and I often realised I'd gone off on a tangent and got the wrong idea, and I'd try to catch up after seeing somebody else's work to be like, it's okay, I've done it, I got there. But it was very challenging. And I didn't learn sign language until the end of my time at university. I was desperately searching for and struggling to find the deaf community. I discovered a deaf church called Word of Hands, and it was the first time I had the experience of learning and picking up sign language. And Jane and Elizabeth were there, and we had a conversation, and I said, I want to learn BSL properly. They gave me the opportunity to do a formal course at Com Plus in Birmingham. Elizabeth taught me BSL. Oh, it was lovely, and here we are now. Through the journey of self-discovery and self-exploration of my deaf identity, I also started to explore my religious beliefs. In my heart, I knew I had to convert to Christianity, but my plan had been to maintain this as a secret and go back to Iran and live a normal, albeit fake, life. I wanted to go back to Iran to see my family and my friends, and I get very emotional when I think about it. I have a really good relationship with my mum, and so I told her I had converted to Christianity. and my mum was incredibly upset. She couldn't cope with the information, couldn't understand it. My mum said to me, "How dare you? Islam is the perfect religion. What have you done? You've gone to the UK. What have they done to you? They've changed you. You've changed so much." My parents decided to disown me and cut off all ties to me. It was a really emotional time with a real sense of uncertainty and what do I do next? I was really grieving at the time. I thought maybe that was it, or maybe I should give them some more time and they'll come round. The whole situation with the Iranian government and my becoming a political refugee really panicked my mum. The impact of this was for her to start questioning the validity of Islam and that the religion isn't as she thought it was, nor was it perfect. She made contact with me through my brother. She took this approach because she was worried about the risks of direct communication, so she would email my brother, who would then email me, and vice versa. When the political situation in Iran quietened and settled, my mum video called me. It was so emotional, we both cried, and we reconnected. My mum apologised over what they had done. She held her hands up to that. Yeah, so we reconnected. I went through the process to receive refugee status, and that was successful, and I received a travel document. It's not a British passport, it doesn't have quite that level of rights, but it allowed me to travel to Turkey to see my parents. I have an Iranian friend who works as a Christian missionary. She secretly works with Iranian Christians. In Iran, she supports them and encourages them in their faith, but also she will bring them to places such as Turkey where they can learn and be invigorated and refreshed, ready to go back into Iran to continue evangelizing. So my friend was in Turkey at the same time as myself and my parents. So we planned to meet up. And I asked my mum to come with me to see my friend and learn about her work. And she agreed and she came along. And after not very long observing, my mum decided to be baptised straight away. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it had happened. But that's just God, isn't it? He leads the way. So mum was baptised. And we gave a lot of thought to it. And obviously, my dad didn't know at the time, and actually he still doesn't know, and it's better that way. He's not quite ready yet, I don't think. So yeah, that's the situation.